Welcome back, and let's join Frank Carbone once again for our third and final segment in tonight's show. So, Frank, everybody wants to talk about jobs. Right now, they're at a premium anywhere in the United States, but man, Nevada is hard hit, and I think Nye County probably has to be about one of the hardest hit there is, right?
Nye County is hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
The total state is in pretty bad shape. It's like 22% if you look at all the real unemployment. It's not the 15% that people are advertising. It's really around 22% because a lot of people have just said, "Hey, I can't find a job. I ain't even looking anymore." So I mean, it's quite big.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. What can the commissioners do at that level to take care of such things? And I'd also like to throw in the planning and zoning that you were talking about.
Sure.
They all tie in, right?
They all tie in together.
All right.
It's a piece of it.
Let you take the ball and run with
all
that.
Right,
then.
Great. Okay. Again, we're trying to look at the way we can bring jobs to this county. Again, the commissioner doesn't bring the jobs in. The commissioners open the door and allow the jobs to come. This means you need to have a nice place to come to, which means it's business friendly. I mean, the zoning has to be in their favor, and the planning has to be in their favor. That'll allow small businesses to come. It might even bring a couple of big businesses. When I say big business, it may be something like 75, maybe 100 people, but nothing too much bigger than that because our town and our commerce can't really handle really big companies. But we need to look at things that are not chemical based, so we don't do any of the damage to the water in our water table, in our properties. We need to bring in things that are mainly manufacturing piece parts work. And we need to make sure our zoning and our planning lines up to those things so that we have very specific responsibilities for those people to go look at those things and say, oh yeah, we may be able to do something with these old zoning requirements. I know when we changed a lot of the zoning requirements, and it made a lot of the general purpose properties and some of these other properties to residential, and it closed off growth to some of the other properties. Yeah, I understand that I'll get the feedback that will be, well, all they got to do is come to the RPC and reapply for new zoning. Well, that costs money. So in reality, we need to be really looking at what we've done to those businesses that are on those properties and say, maybe we did something wrong. We need to give either change that zoning area or at least do something to allow them to have some growth. There's several places up here that are kind of stagnant because of that. And it would be nice to open up our doors to allow more folks to come look at us and say, hey, this might be a nice place to put our small business. I'll give you an example. When I was working for Northrop Grumman, and some people out there might have heard this before. In Minot, North Dakota, we put a wire shop up there. These are wire harnesses that were for the B-2 bomber. Okay, we set up the business up there. We found them a building to start. We brought the tools up there, which are all the wiring boards. Excuse me, all the wiring boards. We brought our inspectors and the folks that used to do the job, and we taught them how to do the job. So once they were on board and learned, they got their inspectors trained, they got their management trained, and we had a good running business. And we only had to go back up there once in a while just to check on them, see how are things going. Do we have any problems? Is there something more you need? Do you want to take on some more work? Do you want to expand? That's something we want to do here. We want to bring some of those kind of businesses here, which are hands-on work to do. We have a gentleman who's
business friendly.
Exactly.
You don't want to get in their way.
Exactly.
Probably the worst thing government does.
Exactly.
Get in the way of business.
Government intrusion is one of our biggest things in this country.
Right.
And it's growing rapidly. I mean, there's more things happening to us than maybe the average person actually knows.
Businessman is not the enemy.
Exactly. And we need to make sure that people understand that. We need somebody who's an economics development guy. I'm not too sure that the people that are doing it today have the broad enough vision that we need to go out and look for those types of jobs, those types of companies that have those smaller businesses that are piece part works for us. So I mean, it may not employ 100, 200, 300 people, but at each one of those places we bring in, we'll bring in maybe 20, 30 people, maybe run 2 shifts. They won't be banging on our water table. We won't be dumping chemicals into the ground. I mean, it'll be won't be spewing chemicals in the air. I mean, it's things that we need to do is a little bit more environmental friendly, but we got to make sure we bring in work that'll help bring in some good pay, maybe $25 an hour, maybe some $18 an hour. But we need to look at those things and say, we need you to come here. We need those jobs. We also are going to do some things with the community as far as trying to bring retired people here, and that's something we can talk about at another time.
They're usually in a more beneficial financial situation to buy a home and
exactly
spend some money.
That's income that's set. They don't need to go out and find a job. As I would say, 90% of them are already set what they want. They're at the age that they don't want to go do work. They're probably going to get in their motorhome and go travel if we ever get the gas prices back down again. But they're willing to go do those things. And hopefully we can work that out with our people in the banks and the mortgage companies and our real estate agents. I know that they're probably waiting for that to happen.
I want to get a little bit off the subject now and talk about the way the county commission and the districts are broken up in Nye County. That's we would be bigger. I looked it up. We would be bigger than 9 of the states in the United States.
Oh, yeah.
It's big.
Yeah.
And let's just talk about the District 2. Are you almost entirely in Pahrump, or do you stretch out into the nether regions of Nye?
Well, we go all the way up to Johnny, this particular
Okay.
district, and it's precinct 32, and that used to be part of District 2, but that used to belong to Joni Easterly, which has changed now because they modified the districts quite a bit and changed around the precincts in some manner, and because that area is so big up there, it's very dense. But I mean, as far as it doesn't have a lot of population, but it has some groupings of population. And then District 9 is pretty congested as far as a lot more people, and District 21. District 21 goes all the way down to 372, runs along Barney, comes back up to Leslie, corners up Leslie. I mean, this is the borders, Leslie Curve, all the way up to 160 to Johnny. So
Okay.
it kind of gives you gives you a pretty good size of what it is. It's a pretty good sized county.
And as far as the population makeup of Nye County, Pahrump is what, like 90%, 95%?
Oh, it's a big percentage. Yes, the majority. Yes.
Okay, so really,
majority.
Isn't it like 4 out of the 5 commissioners are pretty much now just looking after Pahrump, and 1 or 2 of them have the
That's correct. That's correct. Right now,
8,000 square miles that's left over.
Right now, you have 1 commissioner taking care of District 1, which right now is Linda Whitman, and then you have 4 commissioners down here in Pahrump. You know, in this case here, I think Gary Hollis is one of them today. Butch Boraski, Dan Schinhofen, and then there's 1 county, one district now that's open that will be during our election will be filled by either Donna Cox or Ken Soros. So it's kind of a new district.
Okay.
It's a combination of some things. It used to be District 3, which Gary was in.
Okay, and I don't want to be strictly a Pahrump cheerleader, so since it is the Nye County Commission, do you know of anything else going on in the county that is of super pressing importance, or is it just maintenance for most of the other communities
No,
here?
there's a lot of things that are going on. I mean, Tonopah has a lot of tourist industry up there. You have the mines in Round Mountain, those areas. You got the oil fields. I mean, there's a lot of things that are going on that are really important and need to make sure those things are maintained and taken care of. Some of that is income to the county, so we have to make sure we cover all that and make sure it's handled properly. And again, there's no zoning up in that area like there is down here in Pahrump, but they need to be taken care of. You got ranches up there and so on. I mean, everything needs to be looked at. It's not just one little spot. Everything needs to be looked at. But again, where I'm elected by the people that are mainly here in Pahrump. So my attention is going to be a lot down here in Pahrump. I will work with the other commissioner or the other commissioners in their districts, as well as the district up in Tonopah in that area.
Great. Okay, well, let's talk about voting and kind of wrap this thing up on that note. How's that?
Voting. Oh, yeah. That happens here starting early voting on the 20th. And that goes all the way through the 31st, early voting. And I believe there's one day that we're going to be off. I think it's the 26th or the 25th. I don't remember. Okay. But it'll be on your ballots. Everybody who gets their ballots, their sample ballots, they'll see that. If not, you can jot down to the county clerk, and they'll tell you exactly what's going on. It's on my website. You can go on my website. There's a listing of all the things that are on my website, as well as all the things on my platforms. My bio is in there. All the things about me, the proper rule of government, what a constitutional republic is. I mean, all those things that people should read and understand where they're going. I have another piece in there. It's kind of scary. It's called Agenda 21, which people need to start understanding what that's about, because there's a lot of things that folks don't understand what our government has signed up to.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
So they signed up with the UN.
UN, yeah. Geez. Almost sounds like they turned over the keys to the store to the UN.
Say,
well, all right, well, to get along, we'll go along.
Yeah, the UN.
Why do we do that? We're the United States.
Yeah, the UN is trying to break our sovereignty. I'll tell you that. They want to control the world. And
it's crazy.
I'm having a hard time with that myself.
Maybe we ought to move it out of New York City and put it up in Canada or somewhere else.
Yeah.
Say you're a bad influence here.
Yep, I hear you.
All right, Frank. Well, hey, thanks for stopping in again tonight. You can get in contact with Frank at the web address right there, www.frankcarbone2012.com. And
you can call me on 775-751-9252 as well.
Oh, very good. Okay, well, thanks again for coming back to visit us, Frank. And we will see you folks again here on Talk TV. We're on Tuesday through Friday, 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock on 46.3 right here at KPVM. Have a good night, and we'll see you again.
Good night.